What's up, everybody? Welcome. It is another week, another Thursday, another wedding film school live, and I am joined today with Jay. What's going on, Jay?
How are you?
I'm good. I look very dark on screen. I would fix that, but my dog is in my lap, and I don't think I'm gonna get up.
Listen, if anyone has a problem with that, they can just shut their mouths.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can increase my light.
Hello
here.
hello, Carl from France.
Ooh, what's up, Carl from France? I look slightly less dark, but you know what? You win some, you lose some.
I think you look great.
Thanks,
you look great.
Jay. Yeah, not too much is new with me. I'm excited. We got another great show in store. And I'm also excited, Jay. Guys, if you did not know, season 3 of our podcast, The Wedding Film School Show, it just dropped. It just dropped, what was it? Let's see.
Tuesday.
Thursday, so
we have
Tuesday,
a new release schedule. Every week at Tuesday, we're dropping on YouTube and on a little earlier on the audio version, but we're dropping in the mornings basically, and we're excited about that.
I wasn't on that podcast episode. It's more Jay and Jared are pretty consistent. We swap roles. Jay and Jared are consistent on the podcast, and I'm there occasionally. Me and Jared are consistent on the Wedding Film School live show, and Jared is there consistently. And but even though I wasn't there, I gotta say, if you guys haven't watched it, and if you have, I want to hear your comments in chat. But if you have not watched it or listened to it, I feel like we just brought the heat. Like, what a episode to start the season on.
You know, it was one of those things where, like I said on the episode, I have a lot of mixed feelings about the topic, because if you didn't know, there's a national chain called Tolman Media. They collapsed for all different reasons. And basically, a lot of couples, but I'm not sure how many, but potentially thousands of couples for next year, lost their services. And then a lot of people didn't get paid. It was a whole mess. But we kind of break down what actually happened. Because, like, I don't know, man. I don't like when people just jump to conclusions about things. I was like, I'm going to figure out what actually happened. So I started investigating their business model, a little like CoffeeZilla-esque. And
I like it.
And I started looking into it, and I was like, this is insane what they tried to do. Basically,
well, and even like there's so many topics in wedding filmmaking and just business practices that are just like, yeah, it's hard. I mean, you really do have to dive deep, because there's a lot of nuance to any situation.
If you look at the actual symptom of the problem, which is people don't get paid or couples don't get a service rendered, you will gloss over the actual cause of the problem, which is these companies can break into markets with only ad revenue, no wedding filmmaking skills. Couples don't know the difference. There's no way to tell the difference. They go out there, they say, here's this great portfolio. They spend $350K on advertising, and they're offering a product for $1,400 while also paying a very good rate to the artist. So the artist doesn't know that there's a problem because they're getting paid, and the couple doesn't know there's a problem because they're saving money. And so I think it's a really complicated problem. So we kind of break down what happened. How did a company go from 4,000 weddings to out of business in 1 year? We kind of break that down. So go check out the Wedding Film School Show, our other channel, or listen to Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts if you want to know kind of, not the full story, because there's still more to be explored, but I think a pretty comprehensive.
And on that note, guys, if you liked that episode, great news for you. I don't know when, but Jay, I know you've been talking about kind of diving, like that was a podcast episode about Tolman Media, and now we're kind of talking about how do we make videos, not like tons, but like, you know, maybe 2 videos or something on our YouTube channel where we dive into kind of more, not Tolman Media specifically, but kind of that concept.
Well, and I would say,
like,
Brennan Tolman, if you're watching this, I would love to interview you.
Hop on. Yeah.
I'm going to let you get your side of the story out there, but definitely we're working on something because we want to.
Yeah, and because the thing is, like, it's not the first one that we've seen.
Nope.
Right? This happens, I would say, almost every year.
I feel like once a year, some massive company goes out of business.
And there's similar issues and different issues for each one, but we want to kind of dive into, because, like, I think what we don't like, Jay, is there's this knee-jerk reaction in the wedding filmmaking industry that's like, that's like, we're gonna get to the wedding films here, so we'll skip ahead quick. But there's this knee-jerk reaction that's just like big company equals bad, and we don't necessarily agree with that. So.
Well, also big company equals they're paying a lot of people. A lot of shooters need those jobs.
It's a lot of jobs, and I think
I know shooters who are making.
We will explore the issues.
60% of their income off working for these big companies, and so.
Man, I second shot a wedding for like my mentor, and I would second shoot. I would second shoot all year for him if you wanted me to. But I will say, man, it felt great to second shoot.
It's fun to second
or to shoot for somebody else.
It's fun.
There's kind of no pressure.
No editing?
In some ways. Yeah, no editing.
No, not regardless. It's not a terrible life. I will say that.
Yeah. So, without further ado, though, again, check out season 3 that just dropped on the Wedding Film School show.
Should we drop a link? Should we drop a link in the chat?
Yeah. You want me to find it while you queue up this first film?
Yeah, you do that. So, this first film is brought to us by our friend...
At Music Bed.
I'm going to mess this one up. By the way, Music Bed is our friend. So if you would like to go use our code.
That just sounded like the intro to this episode is brought to you by.
In description, you can go to click down there.
And get a free month.
Free month on the 1-year subscription. Wedding subscription. Anyway, this film is brought to us, and I'm going to mess your name up. I apologize in advance. I'm going to do my best.
But they're in chat, so we love that.
Lawrence Boila. Gobshotis. He's from South Africa, so I don't know if they're using Afrikaans or whatever, but beautiful language, really fun. So anyway, this film, it says the wedding was shot A6500 and A6400 with Sigma f2.2 lens, 18 to 55. For audio, use Zoom H4n Pro next to the sound system. Wedding was shot very rainy day in South Africa with a 2-man team. So he says the bride and groom purchased just some nice, what does this say? I need to set my spreadsheet to actually have wrapping. Oh no. The bride and groom just wanted some nice for their church service. I think something nice for their church service. So without the wedding.
Yeah, it sounds like kind of ceremony.
It's a ceremony edit. So we were talking about it before, and I was like, let's do a film. This is like, I think we get a little like in our context, Bobby, what a American style like wedding highlight film is. And we're noticing that like internationally, it's not necessarily the standard. So we want to be a place where you can submit films that in your market are acceptable, and we'll try to judge them for what they are, not try to judge them for what a Western film is. That being said, Bobby, I do typically think that the formula of showing just one part of the day is not as interesting of a film. It does inherently kind of knock some story elements out.
Yeah, I think it just inherently handicaps the film.
Yes.
And whether that's what's the going market hot thing in your country or not, I think we'll
I always try to say to people is like, if you're trying to imitate like American style wedding films, know that we are showing up in the morning and we're there for like
we're shooting 10 hours.
10 hours.
If not more.
And
occasionally less.
Yeah. But basically the whole day. And that's how those films are getting made. So if you're like, why aren't my films X? It's like we have a certain amount of content. So
like I'm probably there, and so are most people. I'm probably there as many hours before the ceremony as I am after the ceremony.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so here we go. Here's the film. Ready for this?
Yep.
Already off to a good start with that rainy puddle.
Black screen. There we go.
From the moment I met you, your smile, your laugh, and your gentle spirit captured my heart and soul. You bring joy to my heart, laughter to my soul, and peace to my mind. Together we will face many challenges, like the guest list, Uber Eats, the rain.
Uber Eats. I love that.
But we will overcome every obstacle.
How awesome is that venue?
Yeah, that's cool.
Wicked cool.
Just like a greenhouse
share
garden
all of
looking
life's
thing.
joys and
Beautiful.
struggles.
I like it.
I will be your rock, your refuge, and most importantly, your best friend. I love you now and forever.
Without you, I'd be lonely. Without you, I'd be lost. I need you by my side for the rest of my life. Without you, I'd be lonely. Without you, I'd be weak. I need your love till death do us part. Can this be true?
Israel.
Yeah, it's a sweet venue.
I've experienced God's love, His favor through you, because when I prayed and asked for a partner,
It's interesting because the exposure outside is like the same as on the inside.
Yeah.
It's because of the rain, I guess, but like
Yeah.
it's
Kind of cool.
it actually is the green as opposed to just blown out.
Yeah.
He truly exceeded my expectations by bringing this handsome, smart, caring, and wonderful man into my life. You always know how to make me laugh, how to lift me up when I'm
Coming in hot.
down. As we begin this new chapter, I feel blessed and honored.
This couple is awesome.
I'm
I wish I
looking
worked.
forward to building a life together, growing old, and fulfilling God's purpose for us. I love you.
Dude, the hats, oh, so dope.
Without you, I'd be lost. I need you by my side for the rest of my life. Without you,
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I thought it was just one guy.
I was like, I thought it was gonna be the filmmaker, like popping with his camera, like a cameo on his own. Okay.
Yeah.
need your love till death do us part.
All right.
Okay. Let's do this.
I feel like I'm about to sneeze. It's driving me nuts.
You know what?
Yeah, let's do it. You want me to go first?
Yeah,
wanna
you go first.
All right, cool. Real quick, guys, what we do, we watch the film and then we talk about things we liked and then things we thought could have been improved. We always say we don't grade you. We're not giving you a score. We're meeting you where you're at and highlighting kind of the things that we think would make the biggest impact for your next wedding film. And that allows us to review people from all stages of their career. I just thought we'd get that out of the way because I usually say that in the beginning. I did not. So things I loved about this film, I think like this, Jay, to me is a really great example of like, I think we see this a lot, especially with international weddings, but occasionally with US based ones too, where somebody's like, oh yeah, they just wanted me for the ceremony. This guy or girl, I don't remember the name, made a lot with a little. Like,
I would agree.
I think this is super solid.
I was expecting to hate it, and
Yeah.
and I actually was like, okay, like I actually got my wheels turning, and I was like, what
Yeah.
if I could sell this? You know,
And like this could be like, okay, ceremony, let's call the ceremony an hour. This could be an hour before, an hour after, and an hour during.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that he got like a very good couple helps
Yes, definitely.
in a very good venue. And I think the issue with films like this is if you don't have a couple of those elements working in your favor.
Yeah, yeah. Then all of a sudden you're just like, okay, now I don't have anything.
But I think in terms of like what he did with what he had, you know, there's some things I think could be a little better, but I also think
definitely.
it's very solid in like
It definitely exceeded what I expected, which is going into it based on just kind of what was said about like how it was just kind of about the ceremony and whatever.
it's not boring. That's
yeah, no,
the
it's
most
like-
important thing to
it's
me is like, is a
interesting.
film boring? And it's not boring.
Yeah, and it looks nice. So like, it made a lot with a little. I think there's some like good framing, some good exposure. I think especially given like you know, probably what you had to work with. I know you had a great couple, but like it's just not that much content. So like it's structured pretty well. It's interesting, entertaining.
The vows are solid.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what about you, Jay? I feel like we're probably kind of just on the same page.
You know, I really think there was clearly like an effort to highlight this couple's personality by the filmmaker to like let them to not just
go above and beyond, I think, too.
To let them like express themselves on camera, pull it out of them. So I say kudos for that. I think the lighting is good pretty much throughout. Yeah. The framing is mostly good. I think I have some issues with some of the even like right there, how close he's getting from time to time.
Yep.
But I think in general, like this is really solid. Like honestly, looks very professional. So good job.
Yeah. All right. Now swapping over to things that we think could be improved.
Yeah.
And I have a couple things. I'm sure you're gonna have a couple things. Mine are all like pretty small because there's not a whole lot to critique.
Well, so I would say I think there's a lot to critique, but why don't you go?
Well, I mean, first? I don't think there's like, you know, it's a 2-minute film with one part of the day. Like, there's definitely stuff that I have thoughts on, but I'm just saying like it's not a 7-minute film where we have I don't know all that to say. So some of the camera movement for me was a little. I think there was too much at times. I think it was unmotivated at times. Like sometimes you're just like going and then you stop in the middle of the shot, or sometimes you're starting really close, like Jay said. So that was something for me. Second, we're seeing it right here, this 8mm look, all the lens flares and stuff. I think the lens flares was a little overdone. 8mm, I love the way that can look. I think, again, I would want to make sure that it's motivated. And in looking at the shots that were selected for that and where they are, I don't know.
Well, and also I think the vibe of the couple.
And I don't think you needed that, I guess, is what I would say.
It doesn't need that. I would agree with you.
And then, man, the thing that stands out to me most, which is so dumb because it's so small probably, the freaking sound effects on the horse.
They're bad.
Walking on cobblestone while the horse is walking on grass killed me.
Yes.
Like you're hearing the click, 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 and it's walking across grass. So that's not the way that works. Yes. I would take that out.
Yes, I would say... without trying to mince words or be critical, and I don't want him to like take offense to this, there's a lot of cheesy stuff that should be removed. Like this is a great example of like this shot coming up.
Well, and I think we say that, Jay, because like sorry, I'm gonna make you rewind again, but like we say that because there is a lot of good stuff in it.
You don't need
like we've seen exactly. That's what it is. Like
you have this horse, right? Who cares about this freaking horse? It's a crappy shot with the dumb sound effect. It was on cobblestone, by the way, but the sound effect.
But the next shot, it's not. It's on grass.
But the sound effect is still wrong anyway. Like, you know, it's just not a good sounding sound effect. But then, so the shot here is, and then this guy right here, right? Look at this dude.
Just some direct eye contact with the camera.
It's like that dude sitting there, that lady in her like coat.
And the bride is kind of, it's in darkness. It's a little,
I couldn't even see at first I was like, honestly, I was uncomfortable because this guy's just staring at me, and I'm just staring at him. Meanwhile, there's something going on. Like, shoot that intentionally. Make that you could shoot. If you go to the other, if that was me, I would have went to the other side. I would have told the guy, stop looking at the camera. Thank you. And I would have made sure to not see the person helping them. And I would have shot her getting in and made it like just shooting something in a way where it's a little more intentional, having kind of like cheesy effects and cheesy sound effects. And then I also think like some shots that are not very intentional, like a random duck, you don't need that in a 2-minute film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And then the last thing I was going to say is the way the only negative I'll say about the way that he portrayed the bride is like she would do certain things that were clearly posed. Mm-hmm. And looked strange, and not because she looked bad. It just was like clearly it wasn't natural. And I would say like for me, and this maybe is just my taste, like if someone's like making a face that's clearly a posed face and it doesn't look natural, or like in this shot, like this guy's looking one area and then she's looking somewhere else, and not in like a posy way, like he's like about to talk or something, like and then he shifts his focus to the photographer. right here. So he's looking at the filmmaker. It's like those are the kind of shots that are like not super refined that kind of like pull you out of the wedding film. They put you into the context of a portrait session and not like I'm watching two people who are like connecting. So I would say try to like extract things that kind of are they break the fourth wall, so to speak. Like throughout the film, there was like the guy staring at the camera, the woman clearly posing, these people looking at the camera and then looking away from the camera. Like that kind of stuff I don't want in my films. And the last thing I would say is maybe this is cultural and maybe everyone does this. I think the logo is not good. It looks literally like a hip hop artist.
I think it brings your quality or your brand. I think it brings it down.
There's too much writing. Your phone number, like why do you have a Twitter link? The person can't click on that. Yeah. Like I just think like say a little less, clean up the logo. All this stuff
say
is
less
so,
to say more.
All this stuff is so little, Bobby.
Like that. Yeah.
Like all the changes
I think that's the like really important thing for what was this person's name? Well, the company name is what? Gobshot?
His name was Lawrence.
Okay. So the thing that Lawrence should take away most from this is that most of what we said is really, really small. And so
well, and it's just things you added that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, and I'm all for exploring, stretching yourself creatively, whatever. But I think there was a lot that wasn't needed, and like all of it's super, super small and easily fixable, and like could elevate the film even more. But overall, especially given the circumstance, I think it was a really solid, like
really good. Honestly, just I would say get educated on the wedding industry in your area to the full extent. Figure out how to like kind of feel like a wedding industry film. I mean, this is a good filmmaker, and like I'm super excited for what they do. Hopefully they're like keep pushing, keep grinding, and like get some help with the branding side maybe a little bit. But in general, like this is a great filmmaker, very good editor, good with, you could tell like he was good with people, like the people were enjoying them. It was just all the stuff that really matters. Good job.
Love it. Oh, big yawn again.
All right. So before we do the next film, Bobby, I wanted to talk about something.
Benjamin, you're going to want to stick around for this next film, though. Anyway, continue.
So, you ever do styled shoots, Bobby?
I knew we were going to go into this, and I actually, right before we hopped on, I saw your styled shoot that you posted in the group, which was very, very good. Here's the thing. I don't think I've ever done one.
Oh, man. It's like just today, dude, it's blowing up my, it's blowing up, man. And for industry people, for me, like
that's the thing is like,
I literally just got a text about it as we were talking from a wedding planner that was like, that was jaw dropping, right? And if you don't know what a styled shoot is, a styled shoot, a good one, is essentially you get vendors you want to work with, you create content together, in either a place or a day, whatever. And so we just recently did one. And not to say that it's like the best thing in the world. And sometimes I'll put content up on the channel and I'll be like, whoa, I don't want to do that. And I'll be like, I don't want to make it look like I'm just, but it's just what I got. Like, this is the content I make. So, but this was for a place called Shepherd's Run with a planner we work with a lot, Hummingbird Events. And we made some content that we thought she asked us to take part in this event. So it's all these premium vendors. And then everyone's kind of releasing this content together. So the point is always like a strategic partnership. So this is what we made. So I'll play the film and then we can talk really about some of the things I look for when I'm trying to do a styled shoot. Because I think one of the things that happens in the industry is people go like, oh, will you do this styled shoot? And then sometimes I'm like, I'm not doing that styled shoot. Yeah. Like that one's crap. I don't want to do that. Like, because it's not that the person's too like beneath me or whatever, but they just don't meet my goals. Well, and they're also not doing, well, we'll talk about it. Let's play the film and then let's jump in. All right, here we go. I'm just going to play it full screen because we're not going to really critique it or whatever. Go. So that's what we did, Bobby. Got to do a lot of fun techniques, and mess around with a little freelancing and some just different stuff that we felt matched. You know what's great about it is you get to kind of project out what you want to do versus what you have to do at a wedding. So here's what I'm looking for. If you're wondering about styled shoots, right? A couple things. Is it a planner I want to work with?
Yep.
Right. I think if there's no planner involved in a style shoot, me personally, I'm not interested.
Yeah. I would agree with that too.
I'm not saying you shouldn't ever do content shoots, because there's, this is clearly good content, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And so it helps our feed, it helps our channel, but it's not like primarily what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But is there a planner involved? I think you should ask that question. If there's a planner involved, are they doing the types of weddings you want to do? Have they referred you before? Are you willing, if they've referred me before, I'm probably more likely to work with it because I want to keep the partnership going. Yeah. But I'm also excited if they never have referred me. I have a styled shoot I'm doing in May at a private island resort that's opening up, 5 weddings a year.
Sweet.
And I want to do that styled shoot. And so, I will say this, Benjamin, the other criteria is I want to finish the edit in like 5 hours. we churn and burn this stuff.
Well, because you have to be ready to go because they want to release it.
Well, and also it doesn't really affect. The point is not to release the best possible film. The point is to release a film that their audience will love.
Yep.
And so that's always. And so the other thing I'm looking for is there a photographer? And this is a less of a thing, but is there a photographer I want to work with? And I think primarily is the aesthetic / venue, actually, something
your brand.
Yeah, that's gonna help propel my brand to more weddings like this. I think getting into these settings, by the way, if you are a filmmaker and you're like, how do I work with planners? If you can get onto these types of shoots with them, and project, that's awesome, buddy. That's a great camera. If you can get onto films like this and give them content like this, quickly, and you will be, I had a planner tell me yesterday, I was talking to them about something I was looking to do with education for wedding film school. And they were like, hey, listen, Jay, you've done a lot for planners in the area. You can ask for favors.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear from people. And that's what I'm looking for is that I'm viewed in the area as not some person who's beneath everyone. And I'm just by serving people, you actually become partners with them. And so
I think for me, I'm so intrigued by style shoots because I want, part of me loves the idea. It's good networking. I definitely want the ability to try stuff like this or to try in a, new things or things that pique my interest in a
editorial
in a setting like that. Yeah. But man, here's things that turn me away from styled shoots, and pretty much every opportunity I feel like I've had has been one of the following. Like you said, no planner involved. The planner is more than likely the most important network for me there.
Yep.
Or the photographer. And a lot of times what I find is there's not a planner. When I get approached about one, maybe there's not a planner, or it's a new planner, a new photographer. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But I also know at my price point, which isn't extreme in my market, but it's, the mid-high end, let's say, or high mid-end, I think is the better way to phrase it. A new photographer is not going to be able to refer people in that price range, and a new planner could if they have the right contacts. But I don't know. Those are things I get hung up on. I also get hung up I've had a handful where they have multiple videographers.
I forgot to say that. That's one of my prerequisites is I am the only filmmaker. I will not go to, if I'm not the only filmmaker, dead to me.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually just did a podcast, Binge. I'm doing a new show, if you don't know this, with Binge Heish. the photographer, and we did a new one, and it was about styled shoots, which made me think about this. And I was like, that's one of my rules is, am I the only filmmaker?
Yeah. Well, and then so sometimes I have them where they're not at a venue really. And it's just like, basically things need, like I feel like I'm not maybe necessarily putting in more work than anybody. The planner obviously is putting a lot of work, but like to make a film out of it's a lot. And there needs to be something that I can get out of it because I don't need it for my portfolio. So it's
the
that
other thing
networking,
is
so it has to be the right
professional models.
Okay, and then that's the last thing I was going to say. I've been to ones. In fact, I have one coming up, and it's coming up at
Are you dreading it?
At my other business, at the place that I own, and I haven't been involved on it really. And they're like, oh yeah, you should do some video for it. And I'm like, there's no models. All you're doing is tablescapes. What video do you want me to make?
Yeah, no, there has to be.
And I'm sure it'll be beautiful, like it will be. But I'm just like, I don't know.
For me, and I'm not saying everyone has to do this, because there are two types of style shoots. There are branding shoots. This is editorial work. This is commercial filmmaking. If you're wondering, like, so everything is professional, right? Versus content things for photographers.
Yeah.
I don't go to those. I'm not going to go to with a bunch of people and make content and then we all share the same content.
Yeah.
That is garbage. Like literally, I'm not releasing anything that anyone else has released. So
I just want to see a clear path to how this gets me 3 bookings in a year potentially.
To me, the path
and it
is
might not, and that's fine. But.
The planner loves me and they get benefit.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. It has to look beautiful. So I also kind of want multiple. I want a stylist there.
Yeah.
There has to be a stylist. There has to be multiple outfits.
How many dresses did that bride?
I want to say she wore.
It's like 4, maybe
4
more.
or 5 dresses.
Crazy.
Because the point was like the venue can use it. Shepherd's Run is a really nice, beautiful kind of place.
Cool place.
It's amazing. It looks like Europe, dude. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And no, we didn't shoot log for this. Why bother?
No log.
I will say we could have recovered those highlights in the dress.
I like this look.
This
I
is
don't care
Fuji,
about
man.
those highlights. Screw that window. Who needs that window?
Well, I don't care about windows. Actually, I don't care about windows. I don't like it when dresses have blown out highlights.
I don't like that either. And man, some dresses, it's just like, oh, are you outside? Yeah, you can't actually recover those highlights ever.
I want to say this was Provia or it's Astia. Film simulation on Fuji. But the other thing about this stuff is there's a lot of free lensing in this film.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff was in-camera effects.
Do you want to explain? Are you using a specific lens or are you detaching? Because like
we
there's
detach
like free lenses.
That are real free lensing, like vintage, like a vintage 50 mil.
Yep.
Canon FD mount 50 mil. So some of that.
I can only imagine how much dust I would have in my Sony sensor if I did that.
Yeah, so it's an effect, but it's not an effect. It's real. It's how it looked. So
it's real filmmaking.
Oh, I would agree with that too. Chris brought up a good point. He says making sure for a style shoot that everyone is in the similar price bracket. I think
that's kind of what I was saying. Like,
I think that's
I might even like the photographer's work. Sometimes I don't like their work, but like I might like it. I might even love it. But and then maybe if I really loved it, maybe I would. But like that's one of the issues I've ran into where it's like a planner who I'm not really in with. They're not really sending me stuff, but they're just looking for somebody, and maybe I would take it. But then they're like, oh, it's this photographer. And I'm like, that photographer charges $1,400. Like,
yes,
it's just a totally.
It really comes down to the planner. If the planner is good, everyone's going to be. Now, I will say this. There's one caveat. If you're out there watching this and you're like, oh, I want to get into styled shoots, right? If you have a plan that works on your feed with your marketing and you think you can pull it off regardless of all the other crap I said, minus maybe other filmmakers, I think that's a deal breaker for me. I don't think anyone should do styled shoots with a bunch of other filmmakers. But if you could get something out of it and you feel like the content will help your branding, even if you just put it on your website as like a background image, I think it's totally worth doing.
Oh yeah, this would be a great header.
Yeah, we're going to use this in our marketing.
Yeah, I would love that.
We're gonna use this on our website as a moving background.
Okay, fine, Jay. I'll set up a style shoot. Jeez.
Just do it. Get it over with. But I would say editorial. If you think it's good editorial content and you can use the editorial content and you have time, it could be worth doing. If you barely have time, I would say try to make sure it's actually something that's has some networking sales benefit to you. So that's it. So styled shoots. If you don't know what they are, they're fake wedding things, editorial magazine style shoots where there's a stylist there, they're decorating everyone, there's someone's doing a table, you're simulating things that go with the wedding. And they're really great ways to collect content and do networking as long as it's the right situation. So that's that. So who's next on our wedding film critiques? Bobby Burns. Back
Next
to the
up,
films.
we hinted at it. It's Benjamin Kelly Productions. All right. He says, shot on the Canon R6. We need the sound pads or whatever, and we can play sound effects.
Oh, I have that.
The air horns.
I can do that.
Can you play me some air horns when
I don't know if I have the air horn loaded up. I'll get that next week.
All right. Yeah, exactly. All right. So Canon R6, second wedding with the new second shooter. Did we review the first wedding that he shot with this new second? Does that sound right to me?
I don't know.
Let us know. I can't remember. I feel like this is ringing a bell. We covered the ceremony poorly. Love it. Honesty.
Straight up.
That's why I have an out-of-focus groom reaction. I still might not forgive it. And he, again, didn't really understand my instructions. Also, the ceremony lighting was stupid, weird, hard to work with. And it was a 5 to 6 minute highlight with 10 hours of coverage. And it was a very low price booking. They booked him when he was just starting.
A wee filmmaking babe.
He was just a little filmmaker.
Now he's a mature boy with an R6.
Let's do it.
Here we go. That's not his music for his film.
Could be though.
He totally skipped that part.
Yeah, he just said the one line. There were supposed to be 2 sentences.
Like, I, Patrick, take you, Morgan, to be my wife. To have and to hold. We never said our vows.
Does that mean we're not married?
Here's the thing. In sickness and in health, for better for worse, rich or poor, old and young, till death do us part.
I do.
Of you.
That was dope. Really cool. I'm sorry. I interrupted it. That was awesome.
Of you.
Show 'em how we do. 3, 4, turn it up more. 5, 6, do it like this. 7, 8, and don't be late now. Everybody come on. Everybody come on. Work that. Work that.
So far, so good.
I like it. This film is good.
We'll see about that. This next part could suck.
Morgan and Elizabeth, April 1st, 2019 changed my life forever.
Whoa, do you think this guy uses music bed? This sounds like some good music.
I remember like it was yesterday.
No one's ever
Right from
used
the
this.
start, I knew we would have something
I
special.
don't actually know what the song is, so I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic.
No, it's just. I mean, there's only like so much you can
Pat
do.
for 16 years, I actually struggled with deciding what I wanted to say in this speech, and so I figured I'd just talk about a few things that I think define who Pat is as a person and who I think he'll be as a husband.
That audio out of sync.
Yeah.
The first two are loyalty and being a good friend. Pat was
Minus
someone
1
who's
point.
just a fierce friend who always has.
No, it
his
wasn't.
front
I think
backs.
it's just lagging.
Everyone who
guys.
knows Pat
Oh,
knows
it's
that.
Zoom for me.
Whether it's in good times, bad times,
RIP.
whether he agrees with your decisions or disagrees with
It might be a little out of
he's
sync.
going to
It's kind of hard. I'm watching it raw. and
Yeah,
it's hard
I'm
to tell.
watching it Zoom related.
It still seems a little out of sync on my end. Anyway, whatever.
You're back. He doesn't want to do this again.
He's the most thoughtful, genuine, down-to-earth guy, which balances out Morgan perfectly.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
I was talking about the camera jello.
Oh yeah, but I was talking about how she goes. She's the most thoughtful, down-to-earth guy, which balances out Morgan perfectly.
Subtle jab.
She's the most arrogant, unthoughtful.
Yeah. He is the worst person in the world.
Patrick Michael.
Together they are a
So-
solid
Yeah,
5.
together
I'm
they are
reminded
right
of all
in the
the
middle.
times you've lived our vows, not only in the past year, but since the day I met you.
Whoa,
It's
the
no
upside
secret
down
that
Apple
loving and
Watch.
supporting a
Interesting
wife with
concept.
chronic illness is a challenge, but it's one you've handled.
Can we just talk about moms buttoning dresses?
They do it.
It's freaking painful though. How many times have you done it and the mom's like, my fingers won't work?
Yeah, my nails are too long.
It's like, has to be 50% of the time I've tried to do it.
Somebody needs to go find my glasses. I can't see these buttons.
Okay, have your sister do it. Have your sister do
Yeah.
it. We'll just fake it. That's every
Number
time.
one cause of stress on a wedding day.
Yep.
Mother trying to
day
button
with
up the bride's
patience,
dress.
grace, and laughter.
It was quick.
Whoa.
He told
Was that me? Again?
Yeah. You're back to the beginning.
What happened?
R.I.P. R.I.P. Well, so far so good.
Well, let me see if I can fix that.
Let me take this time to let you guys know if you want your films reviewed by us and our incredibly technologically advanced show where we never have hiccups and mistakes.
No, everything is perfect. If you want great filmmakers who never make mistakes to review your films,
you can go to weddingfilm.school, which is our website, and you can submit your film. And it's totally free, but if you want priority in getting your film reviewed and you want to help out this channel where we are doing this live film review every single week, we are doing our podcast now every single week, now that we're back in season. We are doing tutorial videos, behind-the-scenes videos, gear review, plenty of other things across our 2 different channels, and keeping it completely free for you guys. Then consider becoming a member, which is just $5 a month, and it gets you priority in getting your films reviewed, and it helps out the channel. It gives us a little bit of money so that we don't lose as much money in doing this for you guys. And you also get some other cool things. You get access to a private Facebook group. You get a cool green name with a little logo next to it. And probably some other stuff. So you can hit the join button right next to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, I don't even know.
well, wait till people hear about how expensive our mastermind is, though.
Yeah.
Like when
you actually, for our mastermind, you just go in a dark room by yourself and you turn on a speaker and we just yell at you that you're good enough.
you can do it, believe in your dreams.
Yeah, you just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, if you can just
believe.
Shoot less, get paid more.
Just believe that you're worth $8,000 a wedding and you'll get there.
It doesn't matter if no one in your area has ever booked an $8,000 wedding. You can do it by following 5 simple steps. We're ready to go, by the way.
Sweet.
Here we go.
Light it
Not
up.
only in the past year, but since the day I met you.
Oh, we're back at this part.
It's
Back
no
at
secret
this
that
part.
loving and supporting a wife with chronic illness is a challenge, but it's one you've handled every single day with patience, grace, and laughter.
It was quickly looking like this new guy was going to be that one that we had been praying for all these years.
Do you like it? Yeah.
Huh.
You've taken my biggest insecurities and showed me how we can laugh at things I don't hear and create memories of staying in on the days my body works against me.
I know the past year has been a huge challenge for us, but I have got to believe that if we can make it through that, we can make it through anything.
Your You're my biggest supporter, strongest ally, fiercest advocate, and the love of my life.
I cannot wait to spend the rest of my life with you, build and grow our family, and experience all of life. Babe, you have completely changed my life forever, and I can't thank you enough.
I love you most, I promise, forever, no matter what. Now, let's start our lives. Hang on, I'm sure it'll be one hell of a fun ride. I love you. See you at the altar.
In the heart of every moment, there's a magic hour.
Very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Patrick Lobo.
This is the same song?
I'm not sure. I was going to go back and check afterwards.
Let us know, Benjamin, so we don't have to check.
When Morgan came home from what was their second or third date, she said, "Matt, I have to tell you about this guy." She begins to tell me about how he fishes.
For as long as I've known Pat, he's always been after that one fish of a lifetime. And while after countless hours on the water, he's gotten close, it wasn't until today that he landed that trophy catch in Morgan.
Dude, I want that guy at my every event I ever do.
I don't know what life's gonna throw at you guys over the next however many years, but I'm confident in a few things. He's always gonna have your back. He's going to work his ass off at your relationship and your life together. And he's not only gonna be your husband, but he's gonna be your best friend. So join me in raising a glass to the new couple. Cheers.
All right.
Sweet.
Let's do a
yeah,
round
cowboy
of...
hat guy. I want him at every event I do.
Yeah, I feel like he is at every event I do, but I guess not really, actually.
Was he at that style shoot?
Yeah, he was. That was part of the style. They brought out her uncle, and he ran around with a cowboy hat, so it was great. Okay, let's do it.
Solid stuff, Benjamin. I really like this film.
I mean, I hate saying, oh, that's way better than what you're used to, because I think makes it seem like an insult. It's like one of those, it's not, I don't want to give you a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, no, but I here's a good way. I feel like this was a step for you.
Yes.
Like this is a step up. And I think there was a lot of thought that went into this.
Yes.
And I also think, look, I'm not going to say I have no qualms with it. But especially if you were worried about your second shooter's footage, I think this is the type of edit where you can disguise that better with a lot of fast cuts and a lot of energy. And yeah,
this is a very, very good edit with good pacing. I think that's the biggest thing is you, like, for instance, that shot of them holding hands, you didn't just cut out of that shot, right?
Yeah.
You're letting people breathe. And I think, to me, what I'm looking for with a good edit is, you know, they don't always need to be like fast, 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 slow, 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 fast. Like, you know what I mean? But in general, there has to be some sense of dynamics.
Yep.
Because we don't have the story arcs that you do with normal storytelling to create the human emotion of tension and then the relief that comes with some kind of, you know, releasing of that tension and via some story arc, right? So, you know, there's no what do they call it? Rising action in storytelling. So when in wedding filmmaking, you almost have to simulate that. You have to create these peaks and valleys and these dynamics, and there's ways to do it, whether it be cutting slow, cutting fast, quiet song, loud song. This is great because he has this super irreverent, funny beginning. He has this hype intro. He has a very traditional middle section.
Yep.
And then back into
and then
that
a hype. Yeah, and then cowboy hat guy shows up, and we're off to the races.
And their personalities came through, which was nice.
Yep. Okay, I have a question for you, Jay. So, I love I want to hear your thoughts on the intro, because part of me loves it. I love the content. So, sorry, I'm going to divide the intro into two parts. Part one is the shared moment of audio between them with the, scratchy film grain and the waveform going. Part two is the fast cuts leading up to, when we dive into that shot of the church, and that's the transition. Man, I love the content of part one. I love the audio. I love this super raw moment that you just found. I love the creativity to say, how can I use this? But part of me feels like we sat on a non-visual aspect for too long. And I don't know that I have a recommendation of how to change that. And I'm curious if you feel the same way.
I do not.
Okay.
But I do feel I don't like the image he chose. Like, I don't like the film. I don't like the film grain. I don't feel like, honestly.
Yeah, there's something that it just didn't.
Here's what I prefer. I would prefer no film grain, none of that stuff. Clean it up. Put the text right in the middle.
That's actually, I feel like, I think it's the waveform thing that just got me. It just feels like cartoony almost.
It's a little iMovie-ish.
Yeah.
I don't mind the waveform, though. I don't like the film grain. This is what it is for me. And this is me being a sci-fi nerd.
I love the moment,
when it comes to world building, right?
Yeah.
So waveforms are modern. Why would there be a waveform with film grain?
That's a good point.
That's what bothers me from a world building standpoint.
I like the idea of using...
But if the font was like really
text,
big in the middle of the screen,
really big, and like one or two words at a time, and it's changing quick or something.
Or like you change the color, like married, or like using. Yeah. I think it's awesome though, and I think the content's great.
I love the concept, and I'm not even saying it was executed poorly, because I don't think it was.
For my little nitpick of it, it's like I can acknowledge that that's just me being a little finicky, and probably most people love it. And I would say if you were to say like X or check mark, success or fail, I would say big check mark.
Yep. Super interesting.
Big
super
success.
Unique. Super makes me want to do this in one of my films.
Really, really
and
awesome.
Also, the couple I'm sure absolutely love that. So.
I'll say some things I love about it. Like I said, pacing, great moments throughout. And really, really solid portrait work. All that stuff. So what are some things you think could be improved?
Two things that really stood out to me. And guys, I do not have my notebook here, so this is top of the head. I'm remembering this stuff just for you. So number one, there were some distinct jello-y camera wobbly shots that you sat on enough for that to stand out to me.
Yeah, you gotta tone down the stabilization.
Yeah, and I'm a little more torn because I saw it a couple times in the, let's call it the third act of the film, the second time we go back into the upbeat song, where you're walking with them with the camera, probably handheld, I'm assuming. And yeah, I'm a little torn because like I think it fits better in that section, but we also saw it in the slow section, and that I think it doesn't fit. And even in the faster section, it might not fit great if it's too overdone.
Yeah,
so I think that was a big thing.
You should never have. Everyone has done it, but your goal is to never have jello wobble.
Yeah. And then the second thing I felt like, and I'm always hesitant to comment on color because I'm not a color expert, and I'm also getting a feed through Zoom, so who knows. But I felt like in a lot of this stuff that I'm seeing right here, Jay, a lot of, especially her skin tone was really, really magenta to me.
It's very magenta, and it's not so much that I think it's problematically magenta.
Yeah, it's not like alien magenta, but...
Well, it's different than the other
Exactly.
stuff.
It stands out to me as I was like, oh, well, this is
I thought her skin was, again, world building, right?
Yep.
It's like, you told me this person looks like this, and then I'm seeing them and they don't look like that, and that's,
Oh, one other thought. I think there was There was a very distinct shot of I believe it was the bride before any of her makeup was done. I think I try to avoid that.
Yes, unless they're doing
terrible,
something
but
like
yeah, it was like her
amazing.
getting her hair done before her makeup was done. I think. I don't know.
Okay, so a couple things that were
Small
known
stuff though
and obvious. A lot of overexposed shots, not ideal. Lots of weird focus issues throughout the film. Like just I think there was just like a need to get a little bit more buttoned down on how you're covering linear kind of events, whether it be like how am I covering my ceremony, how am I covering my toasts, I really want to see like you should have a camera angle on the bride and groom's face right here. Like that would be the next thing for you is like get a nice.
Was there a second shot? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's this one. He did like a 3-shot. I personally think that like that's okay. I do that as my safety shot. So I would have one shot shooting into his face or the other people's face and one shot right on the bride and groom's face. If you can do that, it's great. Helps a lot.
Yeah.
But I think and then there was a few shots where I was like to me the shots where I was like these are the least high end feeling and these kind of pull me out of the polish of the film was like you said the ceremony was bad and I agree because you're watching like the shot of her going down the aisle wasn't very good. It was like that shot is not good to me. I would have shot that differently. I'm not sure exactly what to do, but it just felt like distinctly not very high end. You know, unfocused. The subject was unclear.
Yeah.
The angle was weird. Like that shot's meh. You know, it's like I just think like
that
get a little.
Shot is meh.
Just get a lot more buttoned down. I think in terms of how you cover, especially a Catholic ceremony. And I think you'll be good. And the other stuff we mentioned, but great film. I think it's another level. I think on your market, it's going to be one of the better films. Out there and keep going, keep pushing.
And I think it's unique, and I always love just seeing, or there are unique aspects, and I think that will help you stand out. And I think that I always love people seeing. I love the idea, and I feel like I've explored this more recently in the last couple of years. And I love seeing the music industry. I'm like, I got music bet on the mind, man. I love seeing the wedding film industry always trying to explore what a wedding film can be. So
yes.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think it was great. And I think, keep going. Awesome stuff. So who's next? Last film of the night.
We have last film of the day.
Oh, also drop a like, guys. Helps us a lot. If you're watching,
yes.
Drop a like. Means a lot.
Yes, please. Yes, please. DJ Dorler from Epoch Wedding Films.
I believe this is a teaser, by the way.
Okay, cool. I like that.
We're
recording a podcast after this, guys, and my voice is not gonna last.
We'll take a little break. We'll take a little coffee break.
Perfect. All right. This is a long description, so hang on, guys. I'll try to skip around.
You can summarize.
Very first thing, I made a ridiculous mistake. I changed the actual color science in my Sony camera. What does that mean?
It seems I
like
think he
color
means
shift?
color profile.
Okay.
Maybe. Or picture profile, I believe Sony people call it.
The Sanctuary was yellow, cream colored, and it was showing up magenta. Bumped the green blues. Huge mistake. Took so much extra time to fix each clip. So basically, all that to say, a lot of color grading. Used DR10Ls on the bride and groom. Interesting. Or not, interesting, but like just, I know a lot of people don't do that.
I wonder how that worked out.
Yeah. 2 Sony A7Cs and 1 Canon RP. And he had his buddy Zach with the RP. Shout out to buddy Zach.
Gotta love buddy Zach.
I feel like maybe Zach doesn't really shoot weddings is what he's getting at here. Felt good about most of the day. Best part was the special dances because of the lighting. It was pretty nice, but it's not in this film. Used 2 Godox ML60 buys. How is that? What is that? Like the Aperture 60X?
I believe it's a mono light.
There's so many.
It's
lights
the Amaron. Well, no, there's actually like 2 lights. They're all using a lot of the same parts.
There's so many rebranded.
One of them
lights
has a lens, and one of them doesn't. And beyond that, there's not massive differences I find. But anyway,
booked a few more weddings for this year because of this. Learned a ton from the experience. Can't wait for my next one. Would love to hear your thoughts. I feel like it's a bit different from the typical wedding video. We'll be the judge of that.
yes, the Godex. The Godex is
it's more like a teaser.
The Godex is like the Amaron 60X.
This is his very first wedding film ever.
Very cool.
So he did everything. A trail. So he did a trailer and a feature film. We are looking at the trailer.
Yes.
But he is kind of treating this trailer like a highlight, it seems.
Well, I would say doing teasers, trailers is better for marketing anyway. So,
if my couples were just like, yeah, I just want a 1 minute teaser, I'd be like,
I'm actually creating a package for Merriment. That's going to be my new base package.
I like that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, here's the film.
Do we have audio?
Yeah. Ow.
Yeah, you want to restart?
No, we didn't miss it.
Oh, there was just no audio in the beginning?
Yeah.
And just to get this out of the way, for half the people have probably were at my wedding, Alex, this speech will never match his, because that was probably the first time you've ever heard Alex talk a full sentence. So, I don't have the shock and awe that he has, so he will always have the best man speech ever.
Take a dig upon the baby treasure, swear it's worth more than anything. But no one's ever seen a love like this.
Oh, awkward kiss.
Guys, we're not even at the reception yet. Just wait. Just you wait. We're in for a ride.
Never stop.
All right. So that was different.
I feel like I need to gather my thoughts. It was different, but it also wasn't.
Okay, so I'm gonna say some things I think that they did
well.
I think
also keep in mind, first wedding ever.
100%.
And his second shooter was his buddy Zach.
Yeah. So buddy Zach, first wedding, I would not say that's bad film at all. So anything I say critical later, keep in mind, I know that I actually think it was good. I think it felt like a person there's a very strong concept. Well, tenuous there's a lot of concepts, a lot of ideas, and there was a boldness to it. There was energy to it. There was something where that you could feel connected to, especially the bride, he got their personality out there, a couple little digs. I think that's a person who's a natural filmmaker, a natural storyteller. And there was actually some good, there's some bad shots, but there's also some good shots. I think a lot of it comes down to, my critiques later are probably primarily wedding industry related, but also storytelling related. But I don't want to by any means say lean into this part of your personality, this edginess, lean into that stuff. Do that. You can do it better, but I think that was cool that they went for it.
Yes. I think that's my biggest compliment or whatever is look, it's a wedding film. It's your first wedding film. It can be whatever you want it to be. I don't think this person probably paid you a lot of money. I don't think you pretended like you had all this experience or anything. And so I think actually, you know what I will say? It's really interesting for me to see somebody take a first wedding film and try to go this out of the box.
I wonder if are they in chat? They're not in chat. I wonder how old they are.
I don't think so. I also got the feeling that they're young. Did you?
They're
get that
young.
feeling?
I think that's cool.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that you were just like, look, I'm going to make whatever I want, and this is what I want to try. And like, look, some things hit and I think are interesting and you could expand on. Some things missed. That's the way it goes. But yeah, I mean, like, the general concept of filmmaking is there. Like, you understand some things. You understand, you know, certain like shooting stuff, some with the edit. But then there's also things where, like, especially this ceremony stuff where you color shifted or whatever you're trying to explain that I kind of don't entirely understand. Like, you can see the footage is kind of suffering, I think. But like, yeah, overall, I don't know. Like, yeah, sorry, I kind of rambled. I have to cough. With that said, what are like the couple key areas, Jay, where you're like, I think this is like like it could be improved.
This film made me very uncomfortable as a wedding professional. I don't like this.
Did it have to do with not showing the bride in the best light?
Yep.
Not literal light. Well,
no, literally to like making her look like a drunk.
Yeah, I think that is the first thing that stood out to me. And look, I know there are people who will submit a film and they'll be in chat and we'll say something similar if we come across it, and they'll say, "Oh, well, my bride loved it."
Yes,
that's fine, man.
I don't think
or woman
industry. This is why I said it's industry. Is like the industry is always looking for how much do you understand weddings?
Because here's the thing that I come to from that. This bride might have watched that and been like, "Oh, dude, that's so funny. I don't even remember saying that," or whatever. Fine. But if you put this on your website and another bride sees you posting videos of this bride drunk, which maybe she was, maybe she wasn't, like, whatever. But for both of us to say, I don't think this is showing her in the best light, that is not going to help you book more weddings. And that's a dangerous thing.
Well, and I think best light, there's a couple moments right here. Like, okay, all the crap on that table looks terrible. There's a lot of settings where like you're shooting the couple, and like there's a couple of the outside portrait where you could see like a bunch of playground equipment in the background and all this junk.
Yeah, background was something I was going to say.
And then
that's experience, I think.
Exactly. And then the next shot, you're shooting from a different angle and you don't see that crap and it looks fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
it's like,
this stuff is fine. All this stuff is great. It's the same setting. And then that shot is right after it. And then this shot, that's nice.
Yeah.
And so I would just say, like, you know, don't show that stuff. Don't show things throughout your film that make the day look whatever, that make the bride look bad. Like I think that's just like wedding industry stuff, and not like, you're not making a party film despite the fact that there is party involved.
And despite the fact that you were definitely trying to lean towards a party film, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it can be cool. But yeah, I think a lot of what we said is a learning curve, especially learning within the wedding industry specifically.
Yes.
One other thing, Jay, I don't know if this is my stream coming through, but a lot of that dancing stuff
way underexposed.
Well, way underexposed. I know that, but like it looked weird to me too. Like it makes me think they were. What's the opposite of cranking your shutter? Like it makes me think they're like, oh, this is too dark, and drag their shutter at like 1/20th, and like I don't know. It seemed off.
It's just too fast and too close, and
yeah,
poorly lit, and just not well executed on the dance floor. Like.
Yeah. Also,
it's okay.
He specifically mentioned that the special dances, which I imagine he's talking about the first dance and parent dances, he said the lighting was great and that was one of his favorite moments. I think that's what his description was saying. But it's not in the film. And I was like, why not?
I don't like
that's great lighting, one of your best moments. Like,
I don't like the jarring transitions. I don't like the fade to blacks. I don't like this shot right here. What are you looking at? What are you looking at here?
The guy drinking out of a pitcher of beer.
The little girl. Yeah, there's something. The little girl. The guy in the background. The
there's
messy
no real
table.
Like, focus.
There's no subject.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's just, he's drinking out of a pitcher of beer. Maybe that's like cool or whatever, but it just, I'm looking at this stuff going, you know, in the future, the movie magic is, can you obscure the common moments and elevate the best moments? And I think there's a lot of like stuff that should be downplayed in this film, and there's a lot of good stuff that you did show. This shot, I hate this shot. This is horrible.
That turn got me.
You can't cover it that way. Like, it doesn't look professional. You got to pick a spot, do it. But I will say, like, we're saying all this stuff, and like anyone's like, someone said, I respect that this person picked up a camera and decided to shoot.
Yep.
Literally, we agree.
I also respect that they were like, I don't want to make a slow, boring wedding film. I want to make this. And they did it.
I would also say, guys, if someone submits to us, they want us to critique the film. So I'm trying to give up.
We also, I think we prefaced all of this with saying, look, we're going to lean into this, and that's what we do. And we're not one of the wedding filmmakers out there that does critiques that just wants to candy coat everything. And
I'm not trying to get you to submit it. I'm trying to make you make good films. Yeah. And this person is very, very close to making very excellent films. They just need to clean up some of this stuff. And
a lot of that stuff is shooting or mindset, or just mindset's not the right word.
Learning the wedding.
What's your thought process going? Yeah.
Learn the industry, learn what the expectations are. Then you break the rules, right? That's fine. People expect why. But I will say, nobody wants to be startled watching their wedding film. Watch this moment. I
didn't think we had audio. I was really
watch
confused.
this. This is startling. I don't think that's a good first thing to happen in someone's wedding film.
Probably not.
It just it feels emotionally, it's a stress-inducing thing. And I think if there's one thing you shouldn't do in films that for weddings is induce stress. So anyway, good. This is going to be a filmmaker. I love them to keep submitting films because I honestly think they have talent, and they have just because we're saying some of the things you did are a little off, keep whatever the thing is that inspired you about wanting to do that weird thing, that different thing, figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, figure out a way to do it. And I think just know that you're working within, I love that the constraints of what a wedding film is and can be is constantly expanding, but there are still some constraints.
There are limits. I think it needs to make people look good and feel good.
Yeah.
You can't do things that make people look bad or feel bad. I think those are and then of course dope shots. Some shots aren't that dope in this. Shoot them better. You all acknowledge that, but I think this is a good filmmaker, and I'm excited about what they did. And I love watching people who are young push the boundaries and freaking pick up a camera.
Young.
Well, I assume, yeah. But even to me, I'm 40, so anyone under 30 is young. So
that's a good point.
So
that is a good point.
Anyway, guys, love what you guys do. Appreciate you guys as wedding filmmakers taking part. If you haven't checked out the new season of our podcast, I think it's kind of unique in the wedding space, and so you should check it out. It would mean a lot to me.
I think it's more than kind of unique. I think it's quite unique, Jay.
Yes, and we just dropped this new episode where we are talking about the Tolman Media. If you don't know what it is, in the U.S., it's a big national chain that went out of business. They did 4,000 weddings last year, and now they're gone. And we kind of talk about the story a little bit. So go check it out.
Scammed all their couples allegedly, or did they? I don't know. We're going to dive in. So go check it out on the Wedding Film School show, our sister channel. And speaking of podcast, Jay, you and I have a podcast recording date right after
we got to do
this. Tons of new content coming your guys' way. We're releasing podcast episodes every week now on Tuesdays. We have some awesome guests this season, and
we're doing Ray Roman next week.
Ooh, all right, I like it. So I've been told, not by one source, maybe two or above, that this is the best wedding film podcast.
At least 3 people in the world
on
have
the
said
planet.
That. One of them is me.
I just said it, so that's 4
people think that.
If somebody could just throw that in chat, we'd appreciate it.
Then we could add it to 5 people.
Yeah.
5 people think it's the best wedding film.
But yeah, go check it out. Check out our other stuff. We're working on plenty of stuff on this channel as well. We've got a couple behind the scenes videos in the works. We've got some gear reviews. We've got some partners that we're trying to get some more gear and stuff like that. So lots and lots in the works. Thank you all for joining so much. Submit your films for next week. We'll see you next Thursday at noon Central. Bye.
All right.